For most of us, intimacy is born from love, passion, and connection. But in ancient Sparta, it was nothing of the sort. It was an order, a command from the state, a biological duty to create the perfect warrior. Spartans weren't raised as people. They were forged as weapons, and their creation began not on the battlefield, but in the bedroom. Behind the legend of the red cloaks and the 300 lies a darker truth, a cold, calculated system of human engineering so ruthless that even the cruelest dystopias seem merciful by comparison. Love was irrelevant. Only strength mattered in Sparta. Love, choice, and personal happiness meant nothing. The state alone decided who would marry whom. Old magistrates, men hardened by war, examined young citizens like livestock, judging height, stamina, and bloodline. If a man came from a family of decorated warriors and a woman was strong, wide-hipped, and healthy, they were paired not for love, but for breeding. Beauty wasn't vanity. It was biology. Their marriage wasn't a union of hearts. It was a state command to produce strong children. The body no longer belonged to the individual. It belonged to Sparta. Women, the mothers of the state. Spartan women were not seen as wives or mothers, but as vessels of the nation. From childhood, they trained not for war, but for childbirth. They ran, wrestled, and threw javelins to strengthen their bodies, not for glory, but to bear healthy sons. Their battlefield was the birthing bed. Their honor was in producing warriors, and if a woman couldn't conceive or gave birth to weak children, Sparta had a chilling solution. A celebrated warrior could be ordered to father children with another man's wife. It wasn't adultery. It was civic duty. Her womb could be loaned to the state. Producing a strong child was the highest honor. The first test of life. When a Spartan child was born, there was no joy, no celebration. The baby was taken to a grim hall, the Le, where aged warriors inspected every infant. They looked at its limbs, its spine, its cry. If the baby showed any weakness, it was deemed unfit to live. The child would be carried to Mount Taygetus and left to die in the cold. A quiet offering to the gods of strength. It wasn't murder to them. It was nature's correction. The Agoge, where boys became beasts at age 7, the survivors were claimed by the state. They entered the Agoge, the most brutal training program in human history. Here, comfort was forbidden. They slept on beds made of reeds they tore out by hand, wore a single rough tunic year-round, and lived hungry by design. They were taught to steal for survival. If caught, they were flogged not for stealing, but for being caught. Failure was the only sin. From hunger to pain, every hardship was a lesson. Endure, adapt, obey. Sparta wasn't raising boys. It was manufacturing predators. Soldiers stripped of fear and pity. The ritual of pain. The training reached its peak at the altar of Artemis Orthia. There, boys were ordered to steal cheese from the altar while older warriors whipped them mercilessly. The goal wasn't speed. It was silence. To endure agony without a scream was the mark of a true Spartan. Some died smiling, their blood soaking the stones, proud to have proven themselves worthy. The Cryptia, the final test. When they reached manhood, the best of them were chosen for the Cryptia, a secret death squad. Each night, they roamed the countryside, killing enslaved helots, the oppressed people who vastly outnumbered Spartans. It was not war. It was control through terror. Every year, Sparta's rulers officially declared war on the helots so that killing them wouldn't count as murder. This was how Sparta kept its order, through fear and blood. Love forbidden, loyalty absolute. At 30, a Spartan warrior could finally marry, but even that was an act of duty. His wife, chosen by the state, was his equal in strength and resolve. Their first meeting was ritualized. He seized her in the night, her head shaved, dressed like a man, and waited for him in the dark. They met briefly, secretly, passion without affection, purpose without love. Their only mission was to reproduce strength. Spartan women, too, became guardians of this creed. They raised sons not with tenderness but with pride and steel. Return with your shield, they told them, or on it. Compassion was weakness. Victory was sacred. The fall of the perfect race for 3 centuries. This machine ran flawlessly. Sparta ruled Greece with unmatched might. But the very system that made it strong also ensured its doom. By killing the weak, they destroyed their own diversity. By limiting who could reproduce, they shrank their bloodline. Every fallen warrior became irreplaceable. Their army of the perfect few became too few to survive. Their obsession with strength became their greatest weakness. And as gold and power from conquest corrupted their purity, Sparta, the city that once feared softness, was devoured by its own perfection. Legacy of the machine. Sparta proved that perfection built on cruelty cannot last. They forged men without fear, but also without mercy. They built women without weakness, but also without warmth. Trying to create gods of war, they erased what made them human. The world remembers their courage, but beneath the legend of the 300 lies the truth. A civilization that traded love for loyalty and lost its soul in the pursuit of strength.